to the Wise Woman Show. I am your host, Megan Wiseman, or better yet, Wise Woman. Here we empower Christian women entrepreneurs to express their divine wisdom and follow their intuition. This is a space where diverse voices and visions of wise women are showcased to support and celebrate the power of feminine leadership in business. Today, we are going to dive into the topic of feminine intuition, a new way of being in business. So, in a world, as we have discussed before, that is very masculine based, especially in the business realm, we feel as Christian women entrepreneurs that there is something off. There's something that needs to change, but we haven't really pinpointed it. And I am learning and discovering more about this for myself and helping other women discover this for themselves too. So we don't need to live in these old ways that don't align with our feminine nature and our innate feminine intuition. So we can carve out new ways of living and aligning our work and our lives so that we can flow more freely in our business adventures. And I said adventures. I like that. Usually you say ventures, and business really is kind of an adventure if you think about it. So let me share a little bit more about personal revelation that I've kind of been receiving for the last year or so around this topic. So I, for a few years, found myself like really into this male dominated business world, striving to emulate this masculine energy and do and control, and in the process felt very drained and disconnected from my true essence. And that just burns us out and overburdens us and is not the way women were designed to flow, right? So as I realized this and I was discovering all this masculine energy, feminine energy, and I was learning all about these things, I kept receiving the word mask in my mind. And I was like, women have been masking. We have been masking our feminine qualities, our feminine nature with all of these masculine ways for so long. And I dive deeper that in my book, and we talk all about them and how we can transform our masks into our feminine power. But today we're going to talk a little bit more about the main one, that is the feminine intuition, and how we can use that in our business. So if you want to look more into like, oh, what's a masculine mask and what's my masculine mask and where am I wearing this? You can also take a quiz that I created for you. It's just a free quiz. You can go into the description and look up masculine mask and go and find out what masks you're wearing. What's your dominant mask? And that will show you the hidden superpower, feminine superpower underneath that. All right, so let's look into why these masculine ways of doing business are different from these feminine ways of being in business. First of all, doing and outward giving is a very masculine trait, right? We give, we do, go out, produce, provide. Whereas being in business is being present, being in the moment, following your feelings, flowing with your guidance, things like that don't always seem valuable in the masculine world or the business world, but we're learning more and more how powerful and essential these are, especially women who are working in this world, to align with these different ways, and how much more successful and empowered they are because they're living in their natural rhythms and cycles and following their body and their soul. So if you think about it, women were designed with cycles. We were meant to cycle and flow and move and transform. And motherhood and menstrual cycles just are one example of that for women, and how we do things differently than men. And we flow with the flow of the moon, and we were designed to do that. And men or more designed to flow with that sun, that every day get up and work following that flow. And these cycles are not a weakness for women, but we can use them as inspiration and creativity and tune into how to use them more productively in our business. And I talked to someone who is an expert about this, Megan Watson, who talks about the cycles, and you can find that later. We'll be posting that about the cycles and the womb and how much that affects women in their life and work. So, when we learn to honor these rhythms and integrate them into our businesses, we are able to unlock and flow and prosper in a better way that is in alignment with the way that we were created. So, one of the most powerful things about women is following their intuition. And we're going to go deeper into that as we learn to flow differently and work and use this intuition in our business. We tune into our bodies and recognize that we need rest and rejuvenation so that we can be more productive on the times where we do need to be doing. And we make time to be creative and have pleasure in our passions instead of just this grinding, no fun. We want to have joy and pleasure in the work that we're creating. And that allows us to flow more freely and not feel so masculine, It allows our structured business to flow with this feminine energy that we love. And we are inviting into ourselves and our lives and our work. So I'm learning and discovering this more for myself. For me, I am worn all 5 masculine masks that what I teach, and it's definitely learning to balance both because those masculine traits are not bad or wrong, but they're just probably overused, especially in women who weren't designed to be that way. So it's learning to balance and honor those different parts and pieces of ourselves and tune into the parts and pieces that we have kind of hidden or lost and then we can learn to live in a better way that works better for us. So, in that feminine flow and that masculine flow, we have to learn that there's time to give and time to receive, time to work, time to play, time to learn, time to listen, and we create this balance. So, we're going to go deeper into that, but let's go deeper into the ways that I have used intuition in my life and my work. I know that I wrote a whole course on this actually called Intuitive Empowerment Academy, which I was my original course that I created for the purpose of teaching the intuition because that was the way that I was learning and discovering and tapping into my own spiritual gifts and my feminine wisdom. But today we'll just cover 3 little small things that I've done. Number 1, we'll go into following my heart and then seeking guidance through the scriptures and daily meditation. I know these things sound so cliche, but really they are the most powerful things you can do. And when you use these in alignment with your business, it is amazing what you can accomplish when you're following that spiritual guidance within your heart and receiving that through meditation or forms of tuning in. So here we go. Following my heart. This is like the number 1 tool that I teach. And it was like the number 1 thing that I learned a long time ago when I started my healing. I was learning about muscle testing and receiving answers, and I just wasn't able to get my answers. And then one day I found my favorite scripture that I've already mentioned a few times: trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not to thine own understanding. And I was like, oh, I'm supposed to learn to trust my heart. I'm learning to listen to my yes and no in my heart. So literally, I spent many, many times and days asking my heart what yes feels like and asking my heart what no feels like and tuning in and listening and following that physical sensation within my body and realizing that that is where I was meant to get my yes and no. And so I could literally follow my heart. So if you too are looking to use your intuition, giving you this tool, I obviously teach it in way depth, but here you can just practice and tune into your body, listen and ask, what is my yes? And feel what that feels like, sense what that feels like, and then ask what no feels like. And it'll be interesting to feel how that feels for you. And some of you may already have that tool and you're using it, and you just need more guidance on how to use it. I use it every day. I use it for my work. I use it when I'm in my client sessions. I use it when I'm doing group sessions. I use it as I'm making decisions or asking God for help. It is a beautiful tool to be able to tune in and listen to your heart and know what your yes and no feel like. So, literally following your heart. Your heart is this beautiful connection to your higher guidance. And I have used it. And I know if you haven't learned to use it, be a beautiful thing for you to learn now. And it can help you in so many ways. And if you want more help with that, you can let me know and we can either do a session, you can try my course that teaches a whole bunch about it, but it is a powerful tool that I love to teach. And then the second way is actually, I said this was one of the yes and no was the first thing that I used, but now thinking about it, seeking guidance through the scriptures was actually the first thing. When I was young, the first thing I learned when I was in my healing journey was basically meditation and following my heart. But the first thing I learned when I was little was this intentional praying and seeking answers in the scriptures. So I would say a prayer and ask God to tell me, like, some people can hear his voice and hear it all. But when I was young, especially, I didn't know what that sounded like. So I knew God's words were in the scriptures. And so I'd open the words and I would get these direct answers to my questions. And I have some examples that I could share. Should I share this one? Yeah, I'm going to share it since it relates to my name and everything. It's good. I wasn't planning on this, but like when I was deciding whether I should get married, I was praying and asking if I should get married and what should I do. And I opened the scriptures and found the scripture. Obviously, my last name's Wiseman, if you haven't heard. And the scripture said, "Seek ye diligently honest and wise man." I was like, oh, what? That must mean that I am going to keep seeking diligently this wise man in my life. And fortunately, I did. And here we are. And he gave me this beautiful name so I can use it in all of my work as well. So I'm glad I sought my wise men diligently. And ever since then, and beyond, I have been able to get direct answers that were just like that. So if you haven't tried this tool and you pray, but you don't feel like you're like receiving answers all the time, try opening the scriptures and seeing what God has to say for you in there. And you will be amazed about how clear he can get and how fun this is. It becomes something that you can like, okay, I need an answer from God today. We're going to pray and we're going to open and we're going to find this answer. And I found answers not just for my life, but also guidance in my business, encouragement to keep going, things that he wants me to do. And I love it. I have one scripture that I can't remember what it is. I'll have to look it up, but maybe I can share it in the description. Once time I was getting really discouraged and I was able to ask if I needed any help or if I should keep going, and he gave me a scripture that basically said, yes, keep going, do my work, share my words. And I knew it was like keep going. Like I didn't feel like I had to give up anymore because he was like, I want you to keep going. So I think that there is just so much goodness that you can come by reading and listening to those words in the scriptures. Another tool that I use daily, if I remember and don't like, get up and run and start not doing any of this, but on my best days, I find stillness in meditation. So meditation is like prayer, but where you just create quiet and you clear the body and the mind. And when I do that, it's like getting away interference so that I can truly, as the scriptures say, be still and know that I am God. And there are many times where I've had experiences with like insights that have come, inspiration, visitations, intuitive guidance that comes in the form of, me receiving and being quiet. I've been able to heal and remove blocks for myself that were heavy and burdensome. I've received messages and connected with the spirit world and angels. Like meditation has done so much for me. First, it began as a healing, and now it's transformed into a place of receiving beautiful revelation. So, if you haven't had a meditation practice, then please find time to be quiet at least and get into your body and your mind and your soul and allow yourself to start receiving that beautiful guidance that's available and that connection to your own body and your own soul and all that is available to you in that space. I probably should just do a whole episode on this. This is so amazing. And I do include meditations inside here. So tune in and I will be sharing more meditations on different topics that will help you in your life and work. So, since I use this tool often, it has become something that I use to help myself get through hard things, helps me get messages and all the beautiful things that you can do. So I invite you to try it out if you haven't. And if you've forgotten, keep going. And so there you go. Those are my three amazing tools that help me tune in every day and help me receive guidance and follow my intuition. And I've used them in my life. And then as I've become an entrepreneur, I've used these tools to help me move forward and keep going and receive guidance in the next steps that I'm going to create with God. And it's become an amazing connection that feels like I'm not alone. And I do have tools and abilities to connect and receive direct answers so that I'm not trying to figure it out all on my own. All right. Well, thank you for coming. I hope that you are learning to embrace your feminine intuition and starting to learn how you can bring that into your business so that you can serve those you work with and connect and serve your God and be guided in so many ways. So, thank you for joining this beautiful episode. And I encourage you to subscribe if you want more content and follow me in other places if you want to continue to connect. And until next time, thanks for joining the Wise Woman Show. Remember, divine daughters, keep expressing your faith and femininity as you bring your powerful wisdom to this world. Like, share, comment, or subscribe to the show to stay connected